September 12th. We've already had one game of week 2 that has come and gone. Packers, Commanders. And yeah, we are on to week 2. I was just pulling up the box score for the Packers and Commanders game. I know Tucker Kraft had a huge game. I think it was his first 100-yard game like ever or something. Like he never had one in college. Hasn't had one in the NFL. I don't know about high school or something, if he's had anything in high school. So, but yeah, we're here just kind of going live for a little bit and answer any questions that you guys may have. And if you don't have any, that's okay too. We'll be back tomorrow morning, Sunday morning. So plenty of time to go ahead and get your questions in that you may have. So we're live a little bit earlier today. So got to go live a little earlier today because got some things to do later on. So, but yeah, the Packers Commanders game. Not a whole lot on the Commanders side besides Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz 6 for 64 and a touch. Terry McLaurin, ho-hum, gives you 10 PPR points. Deebo Samuel was good as well. He gave you 7 for 44 and a touchdown. No rushing attempts though. I'm a little surprised about that. I thought Deebo Samuel would have be getting a little bit more rushing work with the trade of Brian Robinson and stuff like that, but they haven't really given him much. So that's unfortunate. There. The running backs, nothing. We know Austin Ekeler went down with an Achilles injury. So that's a little rough. So he's not going to be he could be done for his career, Austin Ekeler. You never really know. He's at that age. So he might just be done. Opens up the door a little bit to, I don't really know if it's going to change much for someone like Jacory Krosky-Merritt, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know what the Commanders' plan is at the running back position. There's just not much going on there, really. Jacory Krosky-Merritt, 4 carries. Austin Ekeler had 8. Jaden Daniels, 7 himself. Ekeler with 2 catches. There's just not much going on there. I guess Jeremy McNichols will play a little bit more. Maybe Chris Rodriguez. McNichols feels a little bit more like a Austin Ekeler replacement than the other guys do. They did have someone last year, a rookie that I liked, and I'm going to double check and see if he's there or not. I don't think he is on their practice squad, but let's see here. He's not there. They do have Donovan Edwards on the practice squad. It was Amani Bailey was someone that I was a little bit excited about there, but he's not on the roster. So, but yeah, on the Packers side of things, Jordan Love was good. Gave you almost 302. With also another 12 yards on the ground. Josh Jacobs is a workhorse for sure. 23 carries, not very efficient, 84 yards, but he grinded it out for 24 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. You'll take that. Nothing in the passing game, though. So you would assume with a guy getting 20-plus carries, he's going to have a little bit more yardage total more often than not. So I'm not too worried about it. But, 84 yards total without any catches is not great. But he got the touchdown, and the touchdown kind of saved him there. So, yeah, that was it for the rushing game. I mean, Matthew Golden got 2 carries, which is nice to see. Tucker Kraft, 6 for 124 and a touchdown is awesome for Tucker Kraft. He's looking like the Packers pass catcher to get. Yeah, like he's or to have, I should say. So yeah, he looks pretty impressive, man. led the team in targets and catches. Spread the ball, they were spreading the ball around. Love threw 31 times, and no one had more than 7 targets. So 7 for Tucker Kraft, 6 for Wicks, 1 for Malik Heath, 2 for Musgrave, 5 for Romeo Doubs, 4 for Chris Brooks, and 2 for Matthew Golden. So no Jayden Reed in this game. I'm a little bit. I know Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed is going to the IR, if I remember correctly. So it would have been nice to see a little bit more Matthew Golden involvement. I'm checking his snap share. He only saw a 10% increase in his snap share from week 1. So he didn't see a huge increase, to be honest. Assuming I know Jayden Reed went out pretty early. So, Tucker Kraft is awesome. Romeo Doubs is he's being a viable piece here. He gives you another touchdown here. He had a good week last week. So Romeo Doubs is potentially putting together a decent, wide receiver 3 like season. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Joseph's here. He says he traded JCM. I saw that in the Discord there. I feel like that's a really good move. I feel like it's a really, really good move there, Joseph. I mean, and you kind of touched on it in the Discord a little bit, kind of mentioning like, this happens all the time. Like we get a late day 3 pick at running back, and they get a little bit of juice, right? Antonio Gibson, Tyrone Tracy, but then like the team decides to replace them or something, right? The team decides to replace them with someone else, like a Brian Robinson for Antonio Gibson, or James Robinson's another one, and then they draft Leonard. They drafted Leonard Fournette? No, it was James Robinson, and then Robinson was done after a couple of years. Like, this just happens. Guys get replaced. So that's definitely, it's what we call the process. That's a process trade there. Could you lose that trade? Yes, absolutely. Right? If Bill Krosky-Merritt turns into even just an RB2, like a consistent RB2 for the next 4 or 5 years, you probably lose that trade, right? But you're kind of banking on that he's either A, not going to be a top 24 guy, or B, like, he's just going to be fine, but he's never going to be a difference maker. So the 28 first, it's a guaranteed profit for sure. Yes and no. It's guaranteed, but I mean, if Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt turns into a stud, right, you don't really profit. But I'm basically saying it was the right move, and it's what we call a process trade, right? It's like, this is the right process to do. You're going to be right if you do these types of trades that you just did, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and an extra pick for a first-round pick. If you do these types of trades 7 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, you're going to be right. You're gonna hit on it. You're going to choose correctly on getting the pick. Now there's all those 2-3 other times. I'll give you an example. Like I traded Chuba Hubbard, I think for like 2, I think it was a second and a third or something like that. I traded Chuba Hubbard. This was, I think 2 years. I think this was 2023 when Chuba Hubbard was kind of coming on late in the season in 2023. And I was like, oh, here, like I'll trade you this for some running back depth. I traded for him for like a second and a third. It didn't work out, right? But I don't think the process was wrong there. So, yeah, I think even though it's a 28 first, I mean, the value of that's only going to go up. You can do so much more. There's a lot of flexibility with that. So, I think that's a great move for you there, Joseph. And again, it's the right thing to do for sure. And as much as we want to hype up Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, he hasn't really done anything. I'm the biggest Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt fan. Right? We talk about it all the time. We were talking about this guy since March before he was drafted. But he hasn't really done anything, right? He's won the starting job basically, or he won the starting job over, over Chris Rodriguez, and they felt comfortable enough to trade Brian Robinson. But like the fact is the guy's had 14 carries in his career, and he's put up basically 100 yards on 14 carries. So good yards per attempt, but like he's had less than 14 carries, hasn't had more than 85 rushing yards. So, and he's not going to do much in the passing game, most likely. You have 9 first in the next 3 years. That's great. How many do you have in 27 there, Joseph? Um, how many do you have in 27? The only reason I ask is because the 27 draft class is looking pretty nice. It's looking really nice right now. So you have 4. Okay, that's really good. That's really good. Um, yeah, not a lot of people are excited about the 26 class. But also this happens every year. Not a lot of people were excited about the 25 class. And then we got super excited about it because there was a lot of depth thanks to the running back. So, you get this every single year where it's just like we seem to be more excited for 2 years out, yeah, rather than getting someone the next year's draft. So, yeah, that's really nice. So you said 3-4-2. 3-4-2. Yeah, that's really nice. I would definitely stock up. We're gonna evaluate the 2026 class. We're gonna kind of keep tabs on it every month that passes. So in a couple more weeks here, we'll probably post something about the 26 class. Early indications are I don't know how deep it is. This last draft we had, it was incredibly deep, right? I feel like the 25 class was deeper than the 24 class, and we were all super excited for the 24 class. But it feels like that the 26 class is not super deep, but of course that could change, right? That could definitely change on my own too. I need quarterback and running back, and I feel those are the strengths of 26. Yeah. Let's see here. Currently in 2026, this is some consensus mock drafts here. Where do I want to go? I want to go to consensus big board here. You have 1, 2. This is according to mock draft database. So they compile a bunch of big boards, first round draft mocks, team specific mocks, and they kind of like say, okay, this is what the industry assumes. This is what they think it's going to be. Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning. I don't think Arch Manning's coming out in 2026 personally. Lenoris Sellers, Cade Klubnik, Drew Allar, Fernando Mendoza. So I don't know. I don't know how deep the quarterback class could be deep, but it also could be pretty shallow if a few of these guys go back to school, right? So that's my only fear, I guess, is a couple of those guys going back to school and making it so that it's not super deep here. I still have Josh Allen, I assume, right? BTJ, Ibuka, Laporta, Tucker Kraft, and Burden. Yeah. You got some nice building blocks there. And Josh Allen, Brian Thomas Jr., Ibuka, Laporta, Kraft, Burden. We'll see what he turns into, but definitely some nice building blocks there for sure. Quarterback. What's up, Thomas? By the way, guys, hit the like button on this stream if you have not already. It just helps get more eyes on the video. And of course, subscribe if you are not subscribed. We're going to be here for at least or at the most 45 minutes answering your questions. We'll go the full 45 until 6 o'clock Eastern if we continually get questions. If not, we'll take off a little bit earlier. Thomas, you have Herbert Mayfield. You have wide receivers McMillan, Tetero, McMillan, Devontae Adams, Olave, Rashee Rice. Running backs are Gibbs, Brown, Henderson, Stevenson, Tootin, Trey McBride, Kraft. $1,000 buy-in. Oof. Happy PPR, 12-team, only league I'm in. I think I won. You think you won, Thomas, already? Because of your team, you're saying, that how good your team is? You have a good team. I would be a little bit nervous about your wide receivers. I mean, once Rashee Rice comes back, if you can kind of steady the ship there, and what is he out for? 6 games? What is it, 6 or 5? If you go 4-2, 5-1, 6-0, and then Rashee Rice comes back, even if you go 3-3, you could be looking pretty good there. You guys just got to stay healthy. But I think, obviously Rice is going to come on. I think Teteroa, McMillan, Alave. You don't have that elite wide receiver. That could be Rashee Rice if they just feed him targets. But that's okay because you have, Gibbs, Brown, Henderson, all three of those guys, and McBride and Kraft, right? Those guys can be awesome. I would use Tucker Kraft or I would use Tucker Kraft or Trey McBride as a trade chip, personally. Package Tucker Kraft and Devontae Adams or Trey McBride and whoever you want to package there and maybe try to get another stud piece somewhere. Because I think you just want a bunch of stud pieces. That's how you win, right? You don't get, wide receiver 24 doesn't help you win. You need top 5, top 7 guys. Wide receiver 24 is nice, but it doesn't matter unless you have the those stud pieces. So Ulysses is here. Would you trade Javonte for Kenneth Walker in a PPR format? I think I would, Ulysses. I think I would there. It's a big risk. It's a really big risk just due to the fact that it's smashed for Walker at on the talent. Exactly. Like, this is why I would do that. The risk is I think Javonte has that role pretty locked down, at least locked down for hit for Javonte Williams to get 70% of the snaps. I'm not worried about Miles Sanders. They say Jaden Blue is not ready. So that's Javonte's job. Now, what's it going to look like? Because you take away, 2 touchdowns and he doesn't look great, right? But that doesn't matter because he has the role. So he's going to get 15 plus touches, 17 touches with 2 catches or something each and every week, and he needs to find the end zone. But you're banking on talent, like Joseph said. And the only issue is, like, he might have lost his job a little bit. Now, the issue with Seattle is, like, we don't know for sure. This is why it's so hard with Seattle, is because Kenneth Walker was, like, injured throughout the preseason and stuff like that. He was injured. He didn't practice a lot and all of that. And this could be them kind of slowly bringing him back in. And so they limited him a little bit. But because Zach Charbonnet is a really good backup, it also could mean that they just like Charbonnet a little bit more. And the fact that he was healthy during preseason, that Kenneth Walker kind of lost his job, right? I think it's a tricky situation, but I think I would go ahead and try and do that, Ulysses. You're pretty good there. You have Breece and Gibbs as your RB1 and 2. And so, adding Kenneth Walker there, that could be the thing that pushes you over the top and gives you a win. Yeah. Joseph, I think this is in response to the 2026 class, right? So, yeah, it is up in the air. It is up in the air for sure. And it's going to change. We've had 3 weeks of college football. So, yeah. Sorry, I was just reading something here. TS says flex PPR, DJ Moore, Tet, or Dylan Sampson. To me, it's going to be between DJ Moore and Tet McMillan. Let's see who I have there. I think I have Teteroa McMillan. Yeah, I have Teteroa McMillan. They're pretty close, DJ Moore and Tet McMillan. I like Tet McMillan's matchup a little bit more. I need to close my window. I'll be right back. All right. I like Tetairoa McMillan's matchup against Arizona a bit more. So I would lean Tet McMillan. Sorry, I don't think he likes to be called Tet McMillan. So Tetairoa McMillan is who I would lean. But I think both are pretty close, personally. So do you like Strange over Juwan for rest of the season? I have Fannin. Rest of season. I would say that Brenton Strange is guaranteed the starting role for rest of season more than Juwan Johnson. But also there's a chance that the team just kind of continues with Juwan Johnson, even when Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau come back. So the reason I'm saying that is because Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau are on the pup, right? And so that's why Juwan Johnson played like almost 100% of the snaps. Now, when they come back, are they going to limit Juwan Johnson's snap share? Like, that's kind of been the problem with Juwan Johnson throughout his career. We know he's talented. We know he has the skills, to be a good receiving tight end. He's just a little bit of like that tweener tight end. So they limit his snaps. Now that they don't really have anyone, he can play all the snaps, right? So there's a chance that when Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau come back, that Juwan Johnson starts to play less and he goes back to kind of what he's been the last couple of years, which has been like a streamable tight end. Whereas Brenton Strange, I don't think he has that issue because all their tight ends there were healthy, as far as I know, for Jacksonville. They have Johnny Munt. They have Johnny Munt there and Hunter Long. And those guys are healthy as far as I know. And still, Brenton Strange played almost 80% of the snaps. So I think it's a little bit safer with Strange. He has a little bit more guaranteed role. But I think I would still take the risk on Juwan Johnson over the next 4 or 5 weeks. Sorry, I'm just checking something here. I think I would, you're going to get Juwan Johnson at least 3 more games without Foster Moreau and Taysom Hill, and it could be longer than that. So I think I would just go ahead and roll with Juwan Johnson, potentially putting up these type of numbers like he did consistently for the next 3, 4, or 5 weeks, and then reevaluate my tight end situation in a month when if Juwan Johnson starts to play less or something. So hopefully that makes sense there. DJ Moore and Ted are back to back pretty much in everyone's rankings. Yeah, they're not back to back for me. I do have Ted a decent amount higher personally. But they're both kind of like those low end tight end twos, wide receiver twos. And so I just go with Tet. I trust it's tough because I trust Caleb a little bit more than Bryce Young, but I just like Tet. I think he's a little bit safer as well in terms of what he's going to get. So people are sleeping on Olave, 13 targets week 1. Yeah, I agree. I think Olave is a good player. Like I just don't know what his upside is my only issue with Olave. Like I 100% agree with you that like I don't really care how he's getting his targets and catches, like as long as he's getting his targets and catches. And so I just don't know how many touchdowns he's going to get. I just feel like he's probably going to have a very similar season to what he's had his first few years in the league, which is anywhere from 4 to 5.5 catches a game, maybe right around 65, 70 yards a game. The touchdowns are going to be the issue. I think he's going to give you 80-ish catches, 1,100 yards. But if he only gives you 3, 4, 5 touchdowns, he's probably not going to be anything better than like a wide receiver 2. So that's my only issue with it. It's not really an issue. It's not his fault. but that's like the only thing I think about with Olave. So, and there's a chance they do change to Tyler Shuck. So, oh, hang on, we got a lot of wind blowing. Had like a huge storm rolling in and wind blowing here, so need to close the windows. But yeah, I agree with you that it's all about opportunity in fantasy football. Starting Olave over Adams, I would. I still think Davante Adams is going to be pretty good this year, but I would definitely start him. Start him over. What elite wide receiver should I go after for Kraft? Solid tight end production is scarce in the 12 team. I always prefer flexing a running back. Any reason I think only reason I think I should trade Kraft is if Henderson busts. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to get an elite wide receiver. I mean, you know your league better. I don't know if you're going to get an elite wide receiver just for Tucker Kraft. I feel like you're going to have to package Tucker Kraft with, with a Davante Adams, with a maybe Olave, unless you really like him, with a Henderson maybe, and hope Henderson never breaks out. Or you trade Trey McBride, right? And the reason you do that is because Trey McBride's much more valuable to people, right? They prefer Trey McBride over Tucker Kraft. But there's a very good chance, like what we've seen from Tucker Kraft to start the year is going to be kind of like what he's going to continue to do. I don't think he's going to continue to put up 100 plus yards, but like he could easily be a top 7 tight end, a top 5 tight end, especially if he can kind of keeps this up. He keeps catching touchdowns and stuff. He's getting the targets. He's good after the catch, right? He can create. And so there's a chance, like when at the end of the year you look at it and it's like, oh, like Tucker Kraft and McBride were not that far apart or something, right? And so, but you can get an elite wide receiver for Trey McBride. So, yeah, I think I would definitely look at the options of Trey McBride and see what you can get. But I think packaging Tucker Kraft with someone and just trying to get, to me, the elite wide receivers are like, as of right now, where we stand after week 1, I'm right around like Garrett Wilson and up, right? Like Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey's debatable. I'm just looking at a list here. Garrett Wilson, Drake London, JSN, I throw in there just because I think he could get a lot of catches. BTJ, I believe in. Amon-Ra, Nico, Neighbors, Puka, Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Chase. AJ Brown, I still would put in that boat. My only worry there is just the Eagles might not have to pass the ball ever. Marvin Harrison Jr. could enter that category, in my opinion. So that's probably T. Higgins. It's going to be tough, with Jamar Chase there and stuff. I think T. Higgins is going to be really good, but will he be elite? I don't know. I think he's a little bit capped there. So, yeah, and I kind of agree here, Thomas. That's why I took back McConkey there. I was always a lot lower on McConkey heading into the draft. I mean, he was going at the 2-3 turn, and I just felt like that was a little bit too high for McConkey. I think he's going to give you very similar to what he gave you in week 1, which is great, but I just don't think that should have been like a top 10 wide receiver. So I think, those guys that I listed off to me are elite. The guys that I think could enter the category are guys like Marvin Harrison Jr. I think DK Metcalf could have a big year, but I don't know if I would trade him under the premise that he's going to be elite or something. So I have Murray. Someone dropped May for Fields today. Should I pick up May to stash as a backup? Nah, I don't know. I who would you be dropping there, Frizzle? Who would you be dropping? That's a big question for me, I guess. I don't mind it because I do think I know Thomas says I wouldn't trust May rest of the season. I believe in Drake May. I'm a big Drake May guy, but he's going to need to run the ball a little bit for me to my beliefs about him to come true. And he didn't really run it too much. Kyler ran the ball 7 times. They say that's what they want to do. They want to get him involved in the rushing game. I just don't know when you're going to be starting Drake May over Kyler anytime soon for fantasy, right? But you do need a backup quarterback potentially. So, yeah, I wouldn't drop Matthew Golden for a backup quarterback. I don't think I would do that. I am a little bit discouraged with Matthew Golden to start the year. But I still, rookie wide receiver, rookie wide receiver. Mr. Magic's asking, do you think he's ever going to do anything? Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, if you judge Justin Jefferson off of his first two weeks of the season where he wasn't playing that much in his rookie year, you would say no, right? I'm a big Matthew Golden fan. Thomas says he has way too much hype. I think Matthew Golden's really good. I don't think he's just a speedster type of guy. That my only issue is the Packers. And Jaden Reed went out very early in that game, and Matthew Golden still only saw a 10% bump in his snap share. So this is what the Packers do, right? Like Frizz was saying, they play musical chairs, and that's fair. But I think it's a little bit premature to say, Golden's not going to be anything. Again, look at Justin Jefferson, his first two weeks of his rookie year. 3 targets, 2 catches, 26 yards, 3 targets, 3 catches, 44 yards. Didn't play in more than 70% of the snaps, and then the rest is history, right? So I wouldn't drop Golden for a backup quarterback that I don't think I'm going to be starting over Kyler Murray in fantasy football. And potentially the only time I actually start Drake May is when Kyler Murray's on a bye, right? And so if that's the case, then I'm just going to go pick up a quarterback that week, and I'm going to hold on to Golden. So it's not even a debate about, to me, it's not even a debate about is Golden going to do something or not. The fact is he's a rookie wide receiver, first-round pick on a good offense who should see more opportunity with Jaden Reed going to the IR, that we shouldn't just drop him for a backup quarterback. That's more what I'm getting at here. So, we can debate on is Golden going to do anything or not, but literally insert whatever name you want to insert here. And it's like, I wouldn't be dropping Golden or anyone else that I drafted in that range that hasn't produced yet. So, Nino is here. What's up, Mr. Magic? Need 1 wide receiver and 2 flex, full PPR. Buka, Tracy, Marv, Keon. Need 1 wide receiver and 2 flex. I'm starting Ibuka. I'm starting Marvin Harrison. I'm starting Ibuka. Who would be the third one here? Who would be the third one? I'm a little bit worried about Keon Coleman. It's probably Keon Coleman. I know a lot of people are going to say that. I'm a little bit worried that Sauce Gardner, how much he's going to see of Sauce Gardner. And then that could just kind of, the Bills, I feel like Keon Coleman's not one of those wide receivers yet. It's not CeeDee Lamb where it's like, no, we have to get him the ball no matter who's guarding him, blah, 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 right? They could easily be like, all right, Sauce Gardner wants to shut down Keon Coleman. We'll go to Shakir and Kincaid and the run game and stuff like that. So that's my only fear with Coleman. I would probably start him, though, just because there's a chance that Sauce Gardner doesn't. He's not on Keon Coleman. And we saw a big game from Coleman. I want to see it another from Quentin Johnston. I'm not 100% convinced, right? It's still very touchdown heavy type of production. So I want to see it a little bit more. Tyrone Tracy, good usage in terms of like, okay, he played, I think he had his highest snap percentage in his career. He played over 70% of the snaps. He just didn't look very good. 10 for 24. He did have 5 targets. Do they slowly start to bring someone else on? So I think I would go with Buka, Marv, and Keon there. But I wouldn't mind Tracy over Keon if you're worried about Sauce Gardner. Swift, Ridley, Sampson. This is PPR. Nino, I assume. I think for me, it's Swift. It's DeAndre Swift. Yeah. And once again, guys, real quick, make sure to hit the like button on this video if you haven't already. It goes a long way to just kind of helping us get more eyes on this video. Of course, subscribe if you haven't. Join our Discord as well. I'm going to leave the link in the chat here to join our Discord. It's free. You'll know when we go live every single time we go live, which is going to be almost every single day this season. So I would go with Swift though, Nino, personally. He had 5 targets, 3 catches. They also stopped throwing to him in like the second half. I mean, he had all the work. He had 20 touches. He's going to give you 2, 3, 4 catches. He's going to give you, it looks like 15 plus carries and stuff. So hopefully he's a little bit efficient with that. So it sounds like they want to run the ball a little bit more. How much fab should I put on the Packers D? Because there's some guys looking to get them next week. I don't know. I tend to just stream defenses personally, even the good defenses, like when they face the good offenses. That being said, Packers have a pretty nice schedule for fantasy defense. They get the Browns. Cowboys could go either way. Bengals is not a good matchup. Cardinals, Steelers, Panthers, Eagles, Giants, Vikings, Lions. Like most of those teams you're not too worried about, but I wouldn't go crazy, Mr. Magic, just because like you can find each week a defense that's going to put up similar numbers to the Packers. The problem is you got to find the right one, right? That's the only issue, but you can do it. They have a bye week 5. They do have a bye week 5. This is true. So you got 3 more games of them. Yeah, I wouldn't go crazy. We got there. Scares me. Yep. Just 2 weeks. I wouldn't panic fully, but there's obviously doesn't look great right now. I agree. Golden is clearly the best wide receiver they have. He can play anywhere. Yeah. And we just want to see him used a little bit better. We don't want to see him just, I know, he almost got that bomb yesterday. He had the separation. It was just a little bit overthrown. He catches that. We're singing a different tune. That being said, he still only had 2 targets in yesterday's game. So we want to see more just like easy, short targets and stuff like that with those long targets. He did have 2 carries as well, which is going to be intriguing if they kind of consistently do that. So they didn't draft a wide receiver to do first round wide receiver to do nothing. Green Bay wants to run and play defense, then throw it to Kraft. They do. But I do think they want to establish a number 1 option. I think that was part of the issue with the Packers of just like the last couple of years. Like it's still very valuable to have that number 1 option that defenses have to like worry about. Right. And when you don't have that, I think it makes game planning on defense a little bit easier when you don't have to worry about a CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill or something like that. Right. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents there. I like Christian Watson over Golden. Yeah, he just can't stay healthy. We don't even know when he's coming back, right? He wants to spread it around. What's up, Ed? Flex, spot, full PPR, ETN, Sutton, or Zay Flowers this week. Man, you have to choose between those 3. I assume you have better options like that you're choosing there. I think I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go ETN. I think we kind of slept on ETN a little bit this offseason. I think he's going to give you 2, 3, maybe 4 catches. He's going to touch the ball a bunch. They're playing. Who are they playing? They're playing Cincinnati. No, they're playing Cincinnati. Um, and yeah, I like ETN here. Could be a shootout, which could be lead to a lot of touchdowns. So Kyle Cybert audio. I would start Shakir. I would start Shakir. Because I'm a little bit worried about. I just want to see it a little bit more from Quentin Johnston. We've seen these games before, but we haven't seen consistency from him. I'm not convinced. So the Chargers, I think they dropped back to pass the ball over 40 times last week against the Chiefs and ran the ball, handed the ball off like 18 times. Now, when you look at the box score, it shows like 34 pass attempts and 25 rush attempts, but that was 7 of those were Justin Herbert. And I think all of them were scrambles. None of them were design runs. So those aren't handing the ball off or a design run. That's dropping back to pass. And he just happened to run. I don't think it's going to be that drastic, a 40-20 split, essentially. I think it's going to be closer to 30 to 35 pass attempts and 25 to 30 rush attempts, or maybe even swing in the favor of rush attempts a little bit more 50-50. So I want to see a little bit more consistency from Quentin Johnston. I'm going to go with Shakir. I think potentially I like Shakir's matchup because I don't think he's going to see much of Sauce Gardner. And so I think that could be an advantage for him, and he might be the target, part of the game plan here. So I'll go with Shakir. Still got that ugly start. I'm contemplating between Benson, Harvey, down. Yeah, I'd go Harvey. Yeah, I would go Harvey. Man, it's so hard. This is PPR, Nino, I assume. To me, Alec Iomanner's for sure no. Although I'm intrigued. To me, Trey Benson is also a for sure no. I mean, I know he had the big rush attempt, but the guy had 9 touches. He played 33% of the snaps. Like, I don't think that's enough to rely on. So those two guys are out for me. So it comes down between Harvey, Downs, Pacheco. I mean, Downs is an option, I guess. But I think I would go RJ Harvey in the hopes that they just use him more. Right? In the hopes that they use him more. So I think I would go. Plus the matchup against Denver, I don't love for the Colts. Yeah, I think I would go with Harvey there and just hope that they use him more. Just think if I want to start ETN this week, is my chance against Bengals. Good matchup. Yeah, I like ETN even without the matchup. What about Coleman or Huge? That's a tough one. I would still go Keon Coleman. I don't like his matchup, but I would still go because he produced. I think he's on a little bit more friendly offense for fantasy, so I'll go with him. Pollard and Warren for Kamara. That's Tyler Warren, or is that Jalen Warren? I assume it's actually, I don't know. Could be either one, to be honest. Here's my worry about Alvin Kamara this year. And it's Kellen Moore. So Kellen Moore, I'm just double checking here. Kellen Moore was, I personally feel like his offenses don't scheme up running backs catches too much. And I'm just trying to go back and look here a little bit. 2019, Dak threw the ball almost 600 times. So let's see here. Running back target share by team 2019. Average 2019. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me for a second here. No, that's not what I want. There's the by position. So I'm sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the target share for okay 2019. All right, it's not. I forgot the website that I normally use here, but I feel like Kellen Moore doesn't throw. His offenses don't cater to running back catches. I know Pollard had a good season under him. So let's see here. We had the Cowboys. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit wrong there, but I know like Saquon didn't catch many passes under obviously under Kellen Moore. Austin Eckler, Kellen Moore was the offensive coordinator there for just the season. I feel like that was Eckler's worst receptions per game almost in his career. Let me double check that. 3.6. So he had a huge drop off from before that, but maybe it was just age or something. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about Kamara, and because his cheat code was catches, right? And if he's not going to get those, then he's not going to be good for fantasy. He only had 2 last week, so that's what I'm a little bit worried about with Kamara. So, I still think I would probably do that trade and just bank on, you know what, they're going to get the ball to Kamara a little bit more in the passing game. But it is a definitely concern. Pollard is serviceable until Spears is back. I think Pollard will be serviceable even with Tyjae Spears back. He might not get as much carries, but I still think he's going to have the bulk of carries and stuff. So, but that's probably it for today, guys. I got to take off here anyways. We'll be back tomorrow morning and Sunday morning. So if you have more start sits type of stuff, let me know. Be back then. And yeah, appreciate everyone that stopped in. And we're going to catch you guys all next time tomorrow morning, 11 Eastern time. So be there if you want. See you guys.